G'day guys, welcome back to another video with Enno here from Fantasy Take TV. Today we'll be doing the first FPL video for the season. So did open last week, as you could probably tell, or the way I'm sounding, still a bit under the weather, had COVID, so put on the back burner, doing my first video, but I thought I'd get it out today and just go through my first draft. For those of you watching from the Supercoach stuff and want to try FPL, I'll try and explain a few of the basic stuff that probably seasoned FPL players don't really need to know. So bear with me if I do explain anything that seems pretty obvious, but there are probably a few people watching that may want to give it a go this season for the first time. I'm not going to talk like I'm an expert either. I've really only played it for probably 3 or 4 years, and I've only really 1.5 of those years were even playing it pretty seriously. So, you know, it is a long and grueling season, especially with the time frames and the turnarounds and all, you know, how many game weeks there are, 38 to be exact, if you didn't know. So it does go for a long time. You do need to be engaged for quite a while. And yeah, I lost a lot of sleep over doing it last season, but I guess it was beneficial in the end. It came 46th in the world and second in Australia, so never going to reach those heights again, but I thought I'd do some videos for this season and sort of see how I go week to week, because I didn't really do that last season. But yeah, so we'll get into the draft. This is just an auto pick team, and then I've got my actual team behind it. So little things, as you can see with the red line there, it's actually got more than 3 City players, so you can only have 3 players from one team. For those that are new out there, that does come into play with the big teams like Liverpool and City, especially, that you got to really think, who do you want from those teams. I'll tell you right now, you don't waste a goalkeeper spot with teams like that, especially Liverpool, really, with how many attacking options they've got. But it does come into it how nailed a player is. So when we say nailed, how likely are they to start each and every game? No player really will start all 38 games for the season. There will be a few, but it's just something that us Supercoach players, or those of you that do play that, sort of take for granted that you know, best players in the team obviously going to play every game every week, but there is a lot of rotation, or more rotation, should I say, especially with big teams, even with other competitions they play in, cup competitions. And you just got to expect sometimes you're going to wake up and you're going to see your players sat on the bench for this game and got you no points, or came on late and got you a point. So it's just something that, yeah, I'll stress now that you do have to adapt to and just accept that it is going to happen from time to time. And with the lockouts in FPL, there are no rolling lockouts. It's locked out an hour and a half before the first game, so you don't even know the team sheets for the first game. Maybe you get a few leaks on Twitter or whatnot if you're following it closely enough, but just something you have to accept. Your captain's locked in, your team's locked in an hour and a half before the first game of the game week, and that's it. There's nothing you can do after that, so you might as well just just relax and give it up, and whatever will be. So yeah, there's a few changes or differences from Supercoach to FPL to start with, but let's just get to the team. So in goal, this is a place where new players will often say, why don't I just get the most expensive goalkeeper? Look, he scored the most points last year. Why don't I just do that? I think $1 million, and often in the past it's been 1.5 million to the top keepers who used to be about 6 million. It's just better spent elsewhere in the field with attackers. So yes, you can say keepers score more, the better ones, but for one, as I said, takes up a spot from one of the other big clubs when you only have 3. And it's really negligible, the difference between a 4.5 and a 5 and a 5.5 keeper. It's just not that big a difference to warrant spending the money on. It's something I learned. I used to be the same. I used to go, well, I'll just pick the best keeper there was last season. Why not? You know, it's only a couple of million more. It's only, you know, $1 million more or 0.5 more. It just makes sense to do that. But trust me, it's better spent elsewhere. That comes to your second keeper as well. You are not spending 4.5, on a backup as well that will rarely see your field. So 4.5, 4 million, that's the way I've always been, or in the last couple of years, the way I've been. There is an argument this year maybe to go a 5 in a Mendy, because he's been lowered from 5.5, and that does cover off the Chelsea defence. Possibly that might happen in my team, but for now I'm going 4.5. With Raya, we need to see what happens with Strakosha, who they're signing from Lazio. I think I've read that they still want Raya to be the number 1, so we'll keep an eye on that for now. There is Sanchez, who's another 4.5 out there, but for now, I'm just going to stick with Raya. The defence, we got Tomiyasu at 4.5. I think he's the best 4.5 option. The early fixtures Arsenal have, as you can see underneath here, you guys probably don't have it, but there is an extension you can get that shows the next 5 fixtures for all the players instead of just the one. So I will link that in the description, or you can even just search it. I think it's called FPL Tracker. I forget. Actually, it's up here. It's called FPL Tools. So if you just search FPL Tools in Google and then Chrome extension, it should come up. Anyway, so... but yeah, the Arsenal fixtures are very nice. Not just the first 5, pretty much the first 8. So the first 2 months are quite nice. And that's another thing with this season is the World Cup's on this year. So the chips that we get, there's 2 wild cards, one to be used in the first half of the year, one in the second half, and it's usually around game week 19 that they split that up, which is about halfway. So you can only use one in the first half and then only use one in the second. So you can't use, too early or too late. You got to use one in each half of the season. But the World Cup sits around game week 16. So what they've actually done is, because the World Cup obviously goes for a month and a half or possibly even 2 months, they've given us a third wild card. Look, it's not an actual third wild card because, like the other 2, you can't pick what game week you want to use it. So it's not actually a chip per se, but during that World Cup break, there's unlimited transfers and you can do whatever you want, which technically is what a wild card is. But obviously, you can't pick when to play it. It has to be during that World Cup break. So that's a game week 16, and then we'll come back in the new year, I think, after the World Cup, and then the season will start again around game week 17. So you can basically picture the season as 2 seasons. With the first 16 game weeks, you get a wild card, some point in there, whether you use it game week 6, game week 10, around, in that probably area. And then you get at the end of game week 16 a reset for the second half of the year. So my point being, the first 2 months of the season, it was pretty much as far ahead as you want to look for fixtures. That's probably even on the longer end. Really, you're going to be making transfers. You're probably going to use your wild card fairly early. I would say as well. I mean, we did last year. I used mine around game week 7 or 8. But my point is, you really only need to look as far as maybe 6 to 8 weeks of fixtures, and that's where Arsenal's are really, really good. So I think, Tomiyasu is the best 4.5. There are a few other options that maybe will be just as good, but I think with the fixtures that Arsenal have, he's clearly the best. Then I think next will be my 4.0 defender, which can be anyone at this point. There's Nico Williams, who just transferred from Liverpool to Forest. So he's one. Patterson's fighting for right back position at Everton. There's Toddy at Wolves, who's fighting for a centre back spot if they don't sign one. So there's a few there. Doesn't really matter at this stage who it is. Then we bring the big boys in. That's Cancelo, Trent. That's Cancelo, and for me, I've gone with Perisic. So Trent, the best defender in the game. He's probably still underpriced. They just don't want to put him up too high. I want everyone to own him. At the end of the day, FPL, they're going to be nearing 10 million players this season, so they want people to be able to afford all their favourite players in the team. So it's probably not the best strategy-wise or competitiveness-wise, or it doesn't probably make the most sense true to the game if it was to be real pricing, but that's the way they've done it. And Cancelo's probably underpriced too. So they're 2 guys I just think are locks with how attacking they are as defenders. So don't really think I need to say a whole lot on them. I've seen a few people try to go without Cancelo. I just think he's just far and away the best City defender, and you're going to want to have one of those, no doubt. So those 2 boys probably won't move from my team. I know Trent definitely won't. Cancelo probably won't either. But Perisic is a weird one. I wasn't on board probably straight away as soon as he came across. I'm sort of warming to it now. As I said before, with the wild card and looking at the season, really only 6 to 8 game weeks ahead. And Spurs fixtures are really good. And I know he's an older player, but I think the Champions League doesn't start till about game week 6. He should get a run of games until then. And then maybe around the City fixture, we look at maybe transferring him. There is a bit of a tough run there to an extent. City away, Arsenal away, with Leicester at home in between. So maybe we look at transferring them. But anyway, I just think he should be playing most of the early fixtures and getting good minutes. And then we can revisit him then and see how he's going. So I think I do like Perisic in the Conte system. He's played in before at Inter and succeeded and done well in. So for now, he's in my team. And then in the midfield, Mo Salah is just someone that doesn't really need to be spoken about too much. He's pretty much the best FPL player of all time, really. In the last 4 seasons, he's surpassed 200 points every season and just doesn't stop scoring. And now with maybe Mane going and Salah being, if he wasn't already the main man, like the true main man now with a couple of new players in Diaz, who only played the second half of last season, Nunez, who'll be playing striker, who's a brand new player. He'll be the guy. He'll be the absolute man. They get Fulham in game week 1. He'll have the captaincy on him for me. And I just think, not much more needs to be said about Salah. Then we come to the 2 8 million mids that I've got. And that's the basis of my team for not going big at the back, which a lot of people are, going maybe 5 defenders. I'm only going 4. And then I'm going 2 8 million mids in the midfield, obviously. So for now, it's Diaz and Foden. Diaz, obviously, that one I just mentioned, a newer player to Liverpool, really hit the ground running in the last season. Maybe didn't score as much or get as many FPL points as you would have liked, but he just looked really dangerous in that front 3. And then Foden, who I'll be honest, I've always had a fetish for him. I don't know why. He's always in my team. He was in my team for 30 of the 38 game weeks, I think, last season. And while he wasn't super amazing, week in and week out, he did have a couple of really, really good hauls. I just think he'll be. He's always been first choice really for Pep. So look, it could be Saka, it could be Mount, it could even be Kulusevski if you want a Spurs attacker. But for right now, I think the most important thing is that's what my structure is, and it's having 2 of these 8 million mids to go with. And then the 4th guy that I'll be fielding is Neto. It's kind of like Perisic, someone I wasn't really too hot on straight away. But I think at this current point in time, it's still early in pre-season. He's the best 5.5 million midfielder. One I want to watch and just keep an eye on is Leon Bailey at Villa, who's actually only a 5 mil midfielder, but he's just had a lot of injury issues. I mean, much like Neto himself, didn't play much at all last year. And Wolves weren't really too good at all. So look, they have pretty good fixtures to open up with. They also have 2. I mean, there's a big commonality here between a lot of these players. They have 2 promoted sides in the first 5 game weeks, Fulham and Bournemouth. Same with Leicester, same with Liverpool, same with City. They have Fulham, Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest. A lot of them have them in the early fixtures. So it is a bit silly. Not silly, just annoying that the way that's come about, that the fixtures are just good for the good teams, and it hasn't really shifted the template too much because a lot of people are going to be going with similar players, but that's the way it is. But Neto is just someone I think at this point in time is the best 5.5 million mid. And then Andreas, just another guy, 4.5 million midfielder that has had a transfer from United to Fulham, so he'll be someone we'll keep there for now. And then down into the forward line, and I've got Jesus and I've got Haaland there. So look, the Haaland versus Kane debate is one that is pretty interesting. Obviously, Haaland, new player from the Bundesliga, whereas Kane's just the tried and true proven asset in the Premier League. Haaland is not someone I just want to bet against. I think if it doesn't pan out, if he gets injured, if he doesn't work early, it's always an easy transfer to get to Kane. Whereas I think it's if you had Kane and he was probably going all right, it's hard to sort of go the other way to Haaland, and he could really be punishing you with that ownership that he's going to have. And that Bournemouth fixture in game week 2 is something that just, it would be scary to not own Haaland in. So He's probably not moving from my team. And then Jesus, look, I'm an Arsenal man. He already looks like he's hit the ground running. Scored a hat trick technically in that first game, but one of them was given an own goal. So hit the ground running. It's just someone we've needed for a while. Clinical striker. Just one of those just a big man up top that's just going to finish the opportunities, and I just can't wait to watch him play in the Prem. So all for us. And then Archer, just another 4.5 forward to fill out the gap. So we'll set that in stone, pick the team and show you how it sort of lines up. But for now, that's how I'm looking. Salah's going to be the captain game week 1 against Fulham. Haaland looks really nice with that game week 2 against Bournemouth, and then they sort of rotate nicely from there. But yeah, that's sort of how I've thought so far. I want the structure to look. They've actually got expected points here with the FPL tool, so it's a little something you can if you like that sort of stuff, can go with. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. What structure you're rolling with? I've seen a lot of 5-3-2s or maybe 5-4-1s as well early. Let me know, Haaland or Kane, what you're thinking. Do you like Perisic? Do you like Neto as sort of those, not punty options, but those kind of big bandwagons that they have been to the start of the season, especially Neto. And maybe let me know if there's any. I mean, this looks pretty template, this team, I'm not going to lie. It always sort of happens. But game week 1, it's not won. It's not lost in game week 1. It's not won. You just want to have a decent starting team, and then, as I said, only look about 6 to 8 game weeks ahead, and then we'll probably be hitting that wild card. So don't study too far in advance. Just have a look at the opening fixtures, who you think is going to start well, and then it's always easy to pop a wild card or make an early transfer to jump on players that you might have missed, or jump off players that haven't really started how you thought they would. So thanks for watching. Be many more of these to come, and there's only about 3 weeks left, I think, until the season starts. So yeah, for those newer watchers out there that were giving FPL a try, I do encourage it. There is a league in the Discord. It's in one of the channel names, so you can find it there. I'll put it in the description as well. But yeah, good luck for the season, guys, and thanks for watching. Cheers.
Got the mojo deals, we been tripping like, hey, pulling out the coupe at the lot.